Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to create a World of Warcraft inspired cake. I've already got a 7-inch round cake ganached and covered. I have tutorials for each step, even how to make the ganache. I'll link them in the iCard. This is covered in couture sugar paste that I've coloured pale grey. With a stone texture mat, this one is by Katie Sue, but you can use any you like. Press the imprint all over. You can use a smoother to apply a more even pressure. I've left a gap at the front where some large gates are going to be. Just press the mat all over the sides and top. Next, I've got a 5-inch cake already pre-covered in white paste. I'm just lightly airbrushing it with blue chroma colour. I'll link all the items below. We're just going for a cold frosty sky effect. Next, we want to stack the cakes. Just add a straw into the centre and mark the height. Next, cut all the straws to the same height and insert them into a circular formation to support the top tier. Add melted ganache to act as a glue and centre the top tier into position. Let this firm up a little bit. Dampen the front of the cake and add some light brown sugar paste. Trim this into a rectangle with a scalpel. Score down the centre with a Dresden tool and add some rough lines for wood texture. Next, cover the board in white paste. I've added the link to the full toilet seat method in the iCard above. Roll out some darker grey paste and cut out mountain shapes. Just wiggle your scalpel as you cut a rough arch, there's no right or wrong. Attach one to the front of the top tier and tap the cut edge with your finger to soften it. Then score in some detail with the Dresden tool. Continue to add mountains all the way around. Now we want to turn it into Ironforge, the capital city of the dwarves. To make sure I get it the right size, I quickly mark out a rectangle on paper so I know not to exceed this size. This is a very basic outline, but it's just so I can get the proportions right on such small details. You just want to hold this on the cake and mark it out with the Dresden tool. Once it's in place, you can go back in and mark it more deeply. Add in extra detail such as a path leading to it and the extra towers emerging from the rocks. Ironforge is snowy, so we're adding this to the top of the cake. Just cut out a wavy circle slightly larger than 5-inch and stick it down. Dampen the waves with a brush and adhere them to the cake. Don't forget to soften the edges with your finger. To add snow to the base of that tier, roll out a long strip with one side straight and the other wavy. Wrap this around the base and again soften the cut edge. To make the building stand out, paint this with dark grey paint. This is just black gel colour watered down with water. For snow, I've got some rainbow dust snowdrift powder that I'm just mixing with a little water to make a paint. Paint and dab this all over the mountains. Cut out a slightly arched strip of brown and place this over the door, cutting it to size. Texture this with the Dresden tool. Next, mark in lines across the door with water. Apply thin strips of grey sugar paste all the way across and some vertical ones on the top of the wood. With the Dresden tool, press in all along the grey bars. Then add balls of grey paste to some of the squares, all done randomly. For the towers at the entrance of Stormwind, take 2 kebab skewers, use stone mat and matching grey paste to the bottom tier. Roll the paste into a sausage and insert one of the sticks up inside it. With a knife, cut it down to size by rolling the sausage and applying pressure to the knife to keep the paste in a cylinder shape. Take your mat and wrap it around the sausage, squeezing it to transfer the pattern. Lay this on a foam pad to help it dry out a bit. Repeat the process to make the second one. Stick them to either side of the doors with water. For the pointed roofs, take some pale blue and roll it between your hands to a point. Chop it to size with a large knife and continue to manipulate the bottom so it's flat and round. Tip the cone on its side and roll it around in a circle. It looks absolutely bonkers, but it works. Make 2 of these. Next, roll out the same coloured paste and trace the Alliance flag onto some greaseproof paper. The towers and flag are a darker blue in the game, but as this was a wedding cake, we were going for a more chic, frosty effect, so tone down some of the colours. Trace around the banner and cut it out with a scalpel. Put your template back on and trace the detail into the centre. Attach the tower roofs with water and same with the banner on the gates. Dampen the base of the roof with water and cut out a grey strip with squares sticking up. I think there are cutters out there that do this job for you, but I quickly did it by hand. Wrap it around and tease it into shape. As always, that's food colouring on my nails, it doesn't come off. I wash my hands constantly all day in between each colour, so it's not dirt, just pesky dark airbrush colour from a different project. For the bottoms of the towers, roll out a rectangle of paste and use the impression mat. For the heads on the towers, roll a ball of grey paste and press in on the top half. Pinch the bottom half out into a snout. Mark in a line across the snout and open it up with the scalpel. Slightly hollow the inside of the bottom lip and pinch it in. Mark the line on the snout and make the top lip area larger. Push the paste close around the bottom jaw to get rid of excess. Mark in 2 holes for eyes and score in some fur detail. Add a ball of paste for the nose and push it into a soft triangle shape. Pull paste down from the chin for fur. Then slice off the whole of the excess paste so it's flat on the back. Attach this to the tower with water and merge it on with the Dresden tool. The ears are just points of paste with the centre hollowed with the Dresden tool. To paint the banner detail, I'm using metallic light gold paint by Rainbow Dust. Just follow the guidelines you marked in with the fine paintbrush. For trees, I'm using Renshaw's bottle green paste. Roll it into a cone. Now you can leave the trees like this, or you can create spikes with scissors. Start from the bottom and work your way up. So that's one way, or you can also do it with the Dresden tool. Starting at the bottom and pulling a layer of paste and then moving up and doing the same. Make whichever trees you like and add them around the baseboard. Next, you'll need to make some teeny versions for Ironforge and add some flat ones to the mountains in various sizes. These will also need painting too for a snowy effect. To make the whole thing magical and frosty, I'm using Pearl Luster Spray by PME. Spray this lightly all over your details to give it a shimmer. You can see the shine on the roofs and the sparkles on the snow. Darker colours pick it up well, such as the trees and the gates. Now these toppers are based on the couple's own characters but dressed in wedding attire, so I'll speed through them. You might want to add your own custom characters to the top. The pants were one long sausage bent in half and pinched at the bend to create the top of the pants. Add some water to the bottom and stick on the shoes. Stand him in position and insert cocktail sticks down to support him. One right down to secure him to the cake and one left higher up to hold his body. For the bride, take some white paste with Tylo added and roll it into a cone shape. Pinch it in for a waist and cut it across the top. Cut out a V shape from the front and slice the back down just to make it a bit thinner. Score in some lines down the skirt part and mark around the waist. Pop this on top of the cake and secure it with a cocktail stick. Hollow out some shallow holes on either side of the dress for her arms. The groom's body is a rectangle of paste. Lower this onto the pants and mark in the opening of the jacket. Also mark in pockets and the collar. Most of it will be hidden with the beard. His arms are just short sausages, one end cut at an angle and one cut straight. For his hands, flatten a ball of flesh colour and cut out a thin triangle to create a mitten shape. Then mark in 3 lines to create 4 fingers. Separate the fingers, twisting them and tapping away any sharp edges. Add these to the bottom of the sleeves with water. Her arm is done in the same way but on a long sausage. She doesn't need fingers on this hand as she will be holding a bouquet. For the other arm, wrap it around the back of the groom's arm and join the hands with water. Push a pointed piece of flesh paste down into the V and cut the neck to size. Cut small white triangles of paste for shoulder sleeve detail. I replicated what her armour may look like as a wedding dress. For mini roses, roll a thin string of pale blue paste and run the rolling pin down 1/2 to thin it out. Start curling it up into a spiral with the thinned edge facing up. Create a few of these and stick them on as a cascade bouquet. For the groom, take a ball of flesh paste and indent with your thumb halfway. Marking eye sockets. Roll a ball of flesh paste and stick this on for a nose. He has quite a large bulbous nose. Mark in nostrils and smooth the join as best you can. Mark in a small smile. You won't see much due to his beard. Deepen the eye sockets with the Dresden tool. Slide his head down into position. Now for the bride's face, give her a more pointed chin and mark in the eye sockets in the same way. Press in below the eyes to create the bridge of the nose. Round out the bottom of the nose with the Dresden tool. Mark a line for the mouth and then push your tool below it to create a bottom lip. Push the top lip up in 2 points. Mark in where you want the eyes to go. Slide this down into position and deepen the sockets. Place white paste into all the eye holes and flatten it down. For the beard, tap a rough triangle shape from paste and pull the ends thinner. Score in hairlines. His moustache is 2 spikes of paste and his eyebrows are very similar but smaller. Add a disc of pale blue to the back of the head and score lines in that too. Another spike of paste at the front will complete his look. Add the same disc of paste to the back of the bride's head and score a line down the centre for a parting and add hairlines. More spikes round the front for her fringe. Two small grey balls create bobbles and cocktail sticks will support the pigtails. Add black balls for pupils and white dots for the catchlights. Water down some black gel and paint on the eyebrows and eyeliner. Red gel works good for lipstick. The groom's eyes are glowing blue, so water down some baby blue gel for that. Ears are flesh paste attached to the head with water and secured with the Dresden tool. For the bride's earrings, roll out tiny thin grey pieces and wrap it around the lobes of the ears. Add some trees behind them and finish off with more spray. And we're done! A snowy, frosty World of Warcraft theme cake for any Alliance fan. Keep it pale and chic for a wedding or grunge it up in the deeper colours for a birthday. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit the subscribe button to see what comes up next week. Bye guys!